Europe stood as the most powerful continent on Earth and the most divided. Beneath its glittering empires, a storm was quietly gathering. Two great alliances had split the continent in two. On one side, Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy. On the other, France, Russia, and Britain. For decades, the great powers had been racing to build bigger armies, bigger navies, and deadlier weapons. In the Balkans, old empires were crumbling. Nationalist movements dreamed of new nations, carved from the ashes of the old. In the city of Sarajevo, capital of Austria-Hungary's Bosnian province, tension was about to explode. Archduke Franz Ferdinand, heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, arrived in the city for a state visit, unaware it would be his last. Hidden among the crowd was a young Serbian nationalist named Gavrilo Princip, armed and waiting for his moment. On June 28, 1914, 2 gunshots rang out. The Archduke and his wife were dead. The spark that would ignite a world war had been lit.
Humanity into a global conflict.
Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia. Within weeks, ultimatums were sent, alliances were activated, and armies began to move.
But that violates the treaty. The treaty.
One by one, the great powers declared war. Austria-Hungary on Serbia, Germany on Russia, Germany on France, Britain on Germany. In days, Europe was ablaze. Millions of men left their homes and marched to war, believing they would be home by Christmas. Germany's plan was bold: strike through neutral Belgium and knock France out of the war in 6 weeks. But Belgium fought back fiercely, buying France and Britain precious time to prepare their defenses. At the Battle of the Marne, French and British forces stopped the German advance just outside Paris, saving the capital. With the quick war plan shattered, both sides began to dig. What followed would become the defining image of the entire war: the trench. For the next 4 years, a line of trenches would stretch over 700 kilometers from the coast of Belgium to the Swiss border. Life in the trenches was brutal: mud, rats, disease, and the constant terror of artillery fire. Between the trenches lay no man's land, a scarred wasteland of craters, barbed wire, and death. New weapons made this war unlike any before it. The machine gun could cut down hundreds of men in minutes. And in 1915, a new horror appeared on the battlefield: poison gas. At Verdun, France, German, and French forces fought for 10 brutal months over a single fortress town. Nearly 700,000 men were killed or wounded at Verdun alone, a battle that became a symbol of the war's horror. That same year, along the Somme River, British forces launched a massive offensive. On the first day alone, Britain suffered nearly 60,000 casualties, the bloodiest single day in British military history. It was here that a revolutionary new machine entered the battlefield for the first time: the tank.
This was the reveal of the Mark I.
Meanwhile, far to the south, Allied forces launched a daring invasion at Gallipoli, hoping to knock the Ottoman Empire out of the war. The campaign became a costly failure, with Australian, New Zealand, British, and Ottoman soldiers all paying a terrible price in the rugged cliffs. To the east, Russia fought Germany and Austria-Hungary across a vast and shifting front. In the Middle East, Arab fighters rose up against Ottoman rule, aided by British officers, in what became known as the Arab Revolt. High above the battlefields, a new kind of warrior emerged: the fighter pilot dueling in the skies. Beneath the waves, German U-boats hunted merchant ships, trying to starve Britain into submission. In 1915, a German U-boat sank the passenger liner Lusitania, killing over 1,000 people, including many Americans. The attack shocked the world and pushed the United States one step closer to joining the war. By 1917, Germany gambled everything on unrestricted submarine warfare, attacking any ship, even neutral ones. Then came the final push, a secret telegram from Germany to Mexico proposing an alliance against the United States. It was intercepted, and it changed everything. On April 6, 1917, the United States declared war on Germany and began mobilizing millions of fresh troops. It would take over a year to train and transport American forces across the Atlantic, but their arrival would tip the balance of the war. Meanwhile, in Russia, years of war losses and suffering had pushed the country to the breaking point. In 1917, revolution erupted. The Tsar was overthrown, and Vladimir Lenin's Bolsheviks seized power. The new Russian government made peace with Germany, signing the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk and pulling Russia out of the war entirely. With Russia gone, Germany moved hundreds of thousands of troops west for one final massive gamble.
Millions of men were mobilized for war.
In spring 1918, Germany launched the Spring Offensive, its last great attempt to win the war before American forces fully arrived. The offensive broke through Allied lines at first, but exhausted German forces, low on supplies, could not hold their gains. Now, fresh American troops poured into the fight, joining exhausted but determined French and British forces. In August 1918, the Allies launched the 100 Days Offensive, a relentless series of attacks that finally broke the German army. One by one, Germany's allies collapsed. The Ottoman Empire surrendered, then Austria-Hungary splintering into pieces. Inside Germany, exhausted soldiers and starving citizens had lost faith in the war. On November 9, 1918, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated his throne and fled into exile. 2 days later, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, the guns finally fell silent. The armistice was signed. After 4 years, 3 months, and 2 weeks, World War I was finally over. Celebrations erupted across Allied nations. Millions of soldiers began the long journey home. But the cost had been staggering. Nearly 10 million soldiers were dead. Millions more civilians had perished. Four great empires had fallen: the German, the Austro-Hungarian, the Ottoman, and the Russian. In 1919, world leaders gathered at the Palace of Versailles.
The fate of nations
In 1919, world leaders gathered at the Palace of Versailles to decide the terms of peace. Germany was forced to accept full blame for the war, pay massive reparations, and give up territory and its military strength. Many believed the treaty was too harsh, planting seeds of resentment that would haunt Europe for decades. The war that was supposed to end all wars had instead set the stage for an even greater conflict just 21 years later. The world forever. New nations were born, old empires vanished, and warfare itself was transformed. Millions of ordinary men had given their lives in the mud of the trenches, a sacrifice the world vowed never to forget. This was the story of World War I, the Great War, a conflict that reshaped the modern world and whose lessons still echo today.
If anything is wrong in this video, write it in the comments below, Or if you have another story in your mind, I will consider it. We are here for you guys, so please subscribe to our channel and like this video.